Do you love basketball? How about anime series? Then you will definitely love this good news. Two companies from the Philippines and Singapore are producing a Filipino-themed anime series for Japanese TV network. Called Barangay 143, this basketball-themed anime series is the first collaboration of media companies from the Philippines, Singapore, and Japan. The series is set to premiere next year. What's the story behind this project? Jacqueline Chua of Filipino company Synergy 88 and Moy Saha of Singapore-based August Media Holdings. Good to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
All right, let's start with what really conceptualized, why did you conceptualize this Barangay 143? How did it all start?
I think the idea started with a couple of years back at Jacqueline's company, where they were trying to put together a series which kind of touched the pulse of the local audience, and those were the original foundations. After that, about a year and a half later, we kind of trashed everything and restarted again. So, in most good, I hope good projects, there are many starts, and this is how that's how it originally started.
But why a Filipino themed series?
Well, in my experience in broadcasting, I've noticed that wherever there are large markets, ultimately the programming that kind of completely permeates through television gets increasingly localized, right? So in Philippines, however, for children and youth, we still see that they're watching a lot of foreign programs. I think that localization bit is going to happen, provided, of course, we are able to cater with very high quality programs, which are local in nature. And this is really an attempt at that.
And why is it called Barangay 143?
Barangay 143?
Mm-hmm.
I love you.
Okay, that's it?
Yes.
That's really the story behind that. Who thought of that?
I think some of our writers came up with the idea.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We had a whole team of writers, all local writers. There was a massive brainstorming effort that lasted almost 8 months.
Really?
In terms of stories, in terms of, names of the characters, what kind of gels, what doesn't. Then we had design teams which would go and photograph neighborhoods like Tondo and so on and so forth, just try and understand what the lifestyle is like.
What it's like to be local.
Yeah, what it is really, the pulse of street Manila and everything else.
So you have themes of basketball, love, crime. So that's something, Filipinos are quite accustomed to. Do you plan to could spread this around Southeast Asia or anywhere that it's feasible to have the project on?
I think basketball and a lot of this story also, which is a story of human drama, is also kind of has a hip-hop subculture. And I think around the world, societies which have similar socioeconomic kind of fabric, I think you'll find that basketball and hip-hop has been very, very popular in those places.
Is it true that the voice talents are all Filipino celebrities?
Not all, but
Not
the
all.
major characters are voiced by celebrities. Like we have Coach B, who's voiced by Joy Marquez.
Okay.
And we have teen stars like Isabel Ortega, Patrick Sugi, doing all the voice for some of the major characters.
How did you choose which goes to whose character, or whose voice goes to whose character, which character?
They went through the usual voice casting.
Really?
Yeah, and it's our director who chose which voice talent is the best to represent the character.
Okay, you produced a companion mobile game.
Yes.
For Barangay 143, and it's called Barangay Basketball. Can you tell us more about that?
Well, the story of the game happens 5 years before the show. So some of the characters are still in their teens, in their high school years in the game. So what we're trying to say is that you don't need a fancy basketball training program to reach your dreams. You can just practice in any local place, even in the street,
in
with
your
a
neighborhood.
buko vendor or someone from nearby barangay, or even that's why if you see in the game, the location is set in like in the rooftop, just practicing dribbling and shooting.
Moy, what's it like working with Filipino animators?
Well, it's not new for me to work with Filipino animators. I mean, not many people actually in the Philippines are aware of the fact that a lion's share of the animated work that kind of graces television screens around the world is actually made in the Philippines. There are like
so much talent here, huh?
Yeah, huge amounts, massive, and that's been happening for the last 20, 30 years. So I am familiar with the fact that there's a lot of talent here. Now, obviously, here was a team that was actually looking forward to do something, dramatic and different. Synergy 88 is already very talented. They do a lot of work for international shows on very, very big networks. It was kind of a natural choice. There was a reason why we chose the Philippines. And it has something to do with the demographics. And if you look at Philippines, it's a 100+ million population, and just shade over 100+. The unique thing about this, which is not very common around the world, is that a phenomenal 30 or 32% of this population is extremely young. It's below the age of 14, right? And perhaps almost about 15% of that is like the millennial generation. So what's interesting about that is that these are people who are always looking for new things. They're very different. And as a result of which, when we thought that we need to try and make something unique, we just felt that Philippines should be one of the first few markets where we should try this out.
Jacqueline and Moy, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Nice to be here.